भद्रम् कर्णेभिः शृणुजामदेवाः भद्रम् पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितम् यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
ॐ नमः प्रणवार्ताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यन्नित्यमानन्दमनन्तमेकं शिवेति नाम्ना श्रुतयो गृह्णन्ति तस्यावतारो नररूपधारी कृपासुदाब्धि भुवि रामकृष्णः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याता सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। यस्यात्मभूतस्य गुरोः प्रसादात् अहं विमुक्तोऽस्मि शरीरबन्धात्। सर्वोपदेष्टुः पुरुषोत्तमस्य तस्याङ्घ्रियुग्मं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। We are seeing the philosophical analysis of Ramakrishna Aratrikam written by Swami Vivekananda. In the last class, we began third shloka, Bhaswara Bhavasagara Chira Unmata Prema Pathar Bhaktarjana Yugala Charane Tarane Bhavapar. O Lord, you are pure consciousness, ever-existing entity. You are the embodiment of sattvic emotions, intoxicated with divine love. You are the ocean of unconditional love. In order to cross over this samsara sagara, we devotees surrender to you at your holy feet. This is the general meaning of the shloka. In the last class, we covered the philosophical analysis of Bhaswara Bhavasagara. Bhaswara means sattvic, shining one. Bhavasagara means attitudes, emotions. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna was described here as the embodiment of sattvic emotions. In the last class, I pointed out there are various types of bhavas, attitudes towards the Lord. Shanta bhavaha, dasya bhavaha, vatsalya bhavaha, sakya bhavaha, madhura bhavaha, apatya bhavaha. All these emotions were expressed in the life of Sri Ramakrishna while he was practicing spiritual sadhanas. One spiritual teacher, Bhairavi Brahmani by name, she found in Sri Ramakrishna all the Mahabhavas. There are 19 bhavas which are called as Mahabhavas in Vaishnavism. All the Mahabhavas, all the spiritual attitudes which were expressed in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha was expressed in Sri Ramakrishna's life also. So she convened a meeting of scriptural scholars, Pandits, Vaishnavacharan and others, and she declared that in Sri Ramakrishna's life we find the manifestation of all the Mahabhavas. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda describes Sri Ramakrishna as the embodiment of sattvic emotions. Next word is Chira Unmata, being intoxicated with the Lord's nature, with Lord's form, Lord's name and divine Leela. Sri Ramakrishna's mind was intoxicated with regard to all aspects of the Lord. Therefore, he was described here as Chira Unmada, ever intoxicated one. And next word is Prema Pathar. Today we will see the meaning of this word. It's a beautiful word, Prema Pathar. Prema Pathar is a word in Bengali language. Pathar means ocean. Prema Pathar means ocean of love. In Sanskrit, Patham means water. Pathanitihi, Pathadhihi means ocean. That Sanskrit word Pathanidhihi or Pathadhihi is taken in Bengali as Pathar. Pathar means ocean. Prema Pathar means ocean of love. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's entire life, we find this one aspect. He was embodiment of love. In his entire life, we find this aspect of love expressed in many situations with regard to many aspects of human life. He loved the Lord in such a manner. There was a time in his life that he could not bear the separation of the Lord, so he was about to cut his throat while he was doing spiritual practices in order to have the vision of Divine Mother Kali. For long 4 years he could not get the divine vision. Therefore one day he decided to kill himself. By that time had a Divine Mother's vision. Every day he used to lament, he used to cry that one day is wasted. One day is wasted by not having the vision of the Lord. In ordinary person's mind, pushing the day is a difficult thing. Time is not going at all. Boring. Life is boring. So he tries to escape from that boredom by involving in entertainments and other activities. Whereas we find in Sri Ramakrishna's life that he was lamenting that without seeing the mother, I have lost one more day. Like that he used to cry daily on the top of the temple. So his love for Lord's form, Lord's name, Lord's Leela was tremendous one. And his love for his family members, wonderful love it was. He considered his wife as the manifestation of the Divine Mother. In our Vedic culture, in our Hindu culture, there is a name for wife, Saha Dharma Charini. And every husband has a duty to guide his spouse towards the spiritual goal. Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated this when he married Sarada Devi. She was 5-year-old girl, that's all. That time Sri Ramakrishna was 23-year-old youth. Even though there was a age gap, 18 years of age gap, still his love and respect for his wife is something very grand. When she attained youthhood, when she came to Sri Ramakrishna, by that time he took sannyasa. Generally, after taking sannyasa, there is no possibility of entertaining any family members. But in Sri Ramakrishna's life, we find not only he entertained her, but became teacher for her, spiritual teacher for her. He guided her in spiritual matters as well as day-to-day life matters. And finally, he offered all his tapas to Sharada Devi as the embodiment of Divine Mother Kali. So here is a demonstration of love without the tinge of any lustful ideas. Generally, householder's life will be with lust. But here we find there is a love without any taint at all. He allowed his wife to stay with him. Even though he could not touch any money or gold, Still, for her future life, he saved 700 rupees as deposit. So this is a very great teaching for the householder who always considers that what I will get from my life partner. Even though Sri Ramakrishna did not get anything in the normal sense from Sarada Devi, but still he conveyed his love towards her in a beautiful way. With regard to his mother, his love is very, very grand. He allowed his mother also to stay with him, and daily he is to go and visit and make pranam to his mother. And after feeding her alone, he will take food. The next compound was a factory, gun factory. There is to be a Shanka at 12 noon. So that old mother is to consider that Shanka is from Vaikunta. Sunday being leave, there will not be Shanka in the factory. So every Sunday is a troublesome day for Sri Ramakrishna to convince that today Shanka is over. She won't believe that the Shanka is from the next factory. She always considered that Shanka from Vaikunta. So he is to manage through one method or other method, and he is to feed her with all devotion. Generally, people who stay with family members don't respect father and mother. Here is a person who is a sannyasi and who has achieved the highest spiritual status in his life. Still, his love for his mother or wife and other relatives was very, very grand, because there is no worldliness in that love. And his love for disciples, very, very grand one it is. He used to say, for long 22 years I cried for meeting my disciples. He cried 4 years to have the vision of Divine Mother. But he cried 22 years to have the vision of his disciples. Daily he used to go upstairs of the temple and he used to cry, "Oh my dear children, where are you? Please come. Without seeing you, I cannot live in this world." Like that he used to cry. Because of that cry, till date, spiritual seekers come to the Lord. We are all fortunate people that because of Sri Ramakrishna's cry, we could come to his lotus feet. So his cry for disciples is something very grand. And especially for monastic disciples. When Narendra came to Sri Ramakrishna, he bowed down to his disciple and addressed the disciple as, "Oh Lord, you are Naranarayana. You are the avatar of Nara Avatara. So much time you have taken to come to me. Is it proper for you?" Like that, he bowed down to his disciple Narendra and fed him. When Narendra saw this behavior of his teacher, he thought Sri Ramakrishna must be a monomaniac. When Narendra was not visiting Dakshineshwar, 1 week or 2 weeks gone means Sri Ramakrishna will be pained in his absence. So he used to tell to others, "Go and tell to Narendra that I want to see him, I want to see him." And with regard to other disciples also, they were all boys who were studying in schools and colleges. He used to go to their schools and colleges and feed those disciples. And with regard to Narendra, one day Narendra decided to renounce the world and take sannyasa. Before going to go away from the society, he went to Sri Ramakrishna for having blessing without telling that I am going to run away from the society. So Sri Ramakrishna knew the inner motive of Naren. So he sang a song. I am afraid to tell, at the same time I am afraid to not to tell, like that one song. That means he could not bear the idea of separation from Narendra. When there was poverty in Narendra's family, and Narendra did not have any employment to feed his own widow mother and other brothers and sisters, Sri Ramakrishna used to tell to other wealthy disciples, Narendra is suffering, you all please help him, please help him. As a man of self-respect, Narendra did not accept this behavior of Sri Ram Krishna. That means you are advertising my poverty, like that. So he scolded his guru, Sri Ram Krishna. Then Sri Ram Krishna said, Naren, for your sake, I am ready to beg house to house. Door to door I will go and beg for your sake. And there was a quarrel between the householder disciples and the would-be monastic disciples with regard to the expenditure for Sri Ram Krishna's treatment. So the householder disciples thought these boys are wasting money like that. So there was a quarrel, misunderstanding. The matter was taken to Sri Ram Krishna, and Sri Ram Krishna gave a judgment to Narendra. Naren, wherever you take me on your shoulder, I am ready to come. He has silently sided with the would-be monastics, especially with Narendra. One time, Narendra did not come for a long period, 1 month or 1.5 months. Sri Ram Krishna heard that Naren is going to visit Shivanath Shastri's Brahma Samaj meeting. And there was a misunderstanding between Shivanath Shastri and Sri Ram Krishna on the part of Shivanath Shastri. Shivanath Shastri is to say, Sri Ram Krishna's divine intoxication, divine attitudes are all madness. So, Sri Ram Krishna once he called Shivanath Shastri and told, I am all the while thinking about the Lord, and Lord is described in the scripture as the embodiment of love and awareness. By thinking the embodiment of love and awareness, can a person become mad? But you are all the time thinking about position and power, and you seem to be a sane person, I seem to be a madman or what? Like that he scolded once. So that was the misunderstanding. So Shivanath Shastri did not entertain Sri Ram Krishna in his meetings. But Narendra used to visit Brahma Samaj. Sri Ram Krishna heard Narendra is going to go there and sing. The desire to see his disciple, beloved disciple, overpowered him. He went to Calcutta and he entered the meeting hall. As even Shivanath Shastri saw Sri Ram Krishna is approaching the hall, he told the attendant to put off all the lights. See, some person comes, if you put off all the light, what does it mean? That you are not entertained, don't come. Because of sudden shut off of electricity, entire meeting was disturbed and they were going here and there, and Sri Ram Krishna did not bother about any of these things. He was shouting, Naren, Naren, where you are, where you are. Then Naren felt very bad about the situation. He scolded Sri Ram Krishna, this much of insult you are having by coming here. Why you want to see me? Then Sri Ram Krishna told, for your sake, I can have any type of insult. That was the love he had for Narendra and other disciples. Once, a disciple came and complained to Sri Ram Krishna about the character of Narendra. Narendra being outspoken, it seems once he told, I don't believe in God at all because the world is full of suffering, and if anybody has taken the path of pleasure, I welcome that person, like that, something he has told. That means I welcome the worldly way of life, like that. So that disciple thought Naren also has gone to that extent of drinking and other things, so he complained about Naren's behavior to Sri Ram Krishna. Sri Ram Krishna could not hear. He told, you are doing Shivaninda. If you talk ill about Naren, I will not see your face, like that. That much love Sri Ram Krishna used to have for Naren and other disciples. In later days, Naren used to say, Swami Vivekananda used to say, only Sri Ram Krishna knows how to love a person. Because generally, humanity thinks love means giving and taking. Reciprocation is called love. If you go to media and cinemas, love means duet songs. But the real love is without any expectation. Love means sacrifice. Love means purity. That is exemplified in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. He used to ask his disciple. One Niranjan Maharaj was there. So he used to call him, Niranjan, when you are going to release God? Niranjan thought, what type of person? Generally people used to ask, when you are going to earn money and give it to me? And generally gurus also ask, when you are going to donate for my ashrama? Here is a man who is very much worried about my God realization. That much of love, unconditional love he had for disciples. And with regard to householder devotees, his love for Mahendranath Gupta and Keshav Chandra Sen and Mathur Babu, these are all wonderful exemplifications. If you study Sri Ramakrishna's life, you can see when Keshav Chandra Sen was ill, he prayed to Divine Mother Kali, Mother, if something happens to Keshav, with whom I will talk about you, with whom I will talk about your glory. Like that he used to pray and he used to offer special offerings to Divine Mother Kali. Mathur Babu committed a crime, so he came and surrendered to Sri Ramakrishna. Somehow or the other you protect me. Such a heinous crime he has done, but still Sri Ramakrishna protected him by praying to Divine Mother. Somehow that case has not come to the court at all. Finally it was solved. And there was a mother who was wife of Kalipada Ghosh. She was very much devoted to Sri Ramakrishna, but her husband Kalipada Ghosh was a drunkard. And he used to visit the questionable places. So she came to receive the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna. She asked for Charana Tirtha. Sri Ramakrishna sent her to Holy Mother Sarada Devi. Sarada Devi again sent to Sri Ramakrishna. You go and receive Charana Tirtha of his holy feet, like that. So like that twice or thrice she was tousled. Then finally Sri Ramakrishna blesses that within few years your husband will be a devoted person. Then Sri Ramakrishna's love for sadhus. From childhood onwards we can see his love for sadhus is an exemplary one. As a boy he served sadhus, he did sadhu seva. And when he was staying in Dakshineshwar, he had a separate store wherein necessary articles for sadhus kept. He used to distribute to all the sadhus, and Dakshineshwar temple complex was full of visiting sadhus. So he used to serve sadhus. That love was something very grand. And he used to love great jnanis. When he went to Kashi, he met Trailinga Swami. Trailinga Swami was a great jnani. Without any cloth he used to live like a child. It seems he lived for 400 years. He used to carry a Shivalinga. It is kept there in his ashrama. Maybe 1 ton or 2 ton of weight. It's such a huge Shivalinga. He used to carry on his shoulder and give a Ganga Snan for that Shivalinga. That type of a mystic saint he was. So Sri Ramakrishna went to meet that Trailinga Swami. Trailinga Swami was in Maunavrata that time. So Sri Ramakrishna asked, is the reality one or many? That was the question. The reality is only one. So Trailinga Swami showed by his finger. For a man of wisdom, reality is one. For an ignorant person, it appears as though many, like that. Sri Ramakrishna was very happy with his knowledge. So next day he prepared milk pudding and fed Trailinga Swami by his own hand. And another saint was there, Ganga Mata, in Vrindavan. When Sri Ramakrishna went to pilgrimage in Vrindavan, seeing her saintliness, he decided to spend balanced life in Vrindavan only, staying with her. Then somehow Mathur Babu and Hriday had to convince, no, your mother is waiting, your mother who gave birth to your physical body is living in Dakshineshwar, she will be worried if you don't come, please come back like that. Then his love for other religious people. He accepted a Sufi Muslim, Govinda Rai, as his own guru. These are all extraordinary things. You cannot imagine accepting someone as your spiritual teacher who belonged to other religious faith. Sri Ramakrishna accepted Govinda Rai as his guru, and whenever Narendra and other disciples used to criticize the fanatic ideas of other religions, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, don't do that. All religions are in the world according to the will of the Lord. According to the capacity of the child, mother feeds. For someone, it is mere soup. For someone, it is fried rice, which is difficult to digest. So, some religions may not have philosophy, but they also have utility in bringing maturity in the human mind. Therefore, you should not criticize any other religious ideas like that. He is to say to his disciples. And towards Nastikas, also his love was very grand. Ishwara Chandra Vidyasagar openly declared that there is no God, but was a good man. He was a philanthropist. He used to help a lot of students in educating them. So Sri Ramakrishna went to his house and poured his love on him. That Vidyasagar was wondering, you are a person whose life is completely one with the religious ideas. I am the person who openly declared Nastika. How can you show this much love for me like that? He used to wonder. Sri Ramakrishna used to joke. So far we were traveling with ordinary rivers. Now we have come to Sagara, Vidya Sagara, like that. He used to joke. Because of this love, unconditional love, the person became devotee afterwards. And there was one Dr. Mahendra Lal Sarkar. He also declared, in those days, declaring that there is no God was a fashion. Not only those days, nowadays also in Tamil Nadu also so many people are there. It's a fashion. They claim themselves as the thinking people. Paguttarivu Vadigal. They claim themselves as thinking people. If anybody is a thinking man, what he should do? He should declare that there is no God. That was the fashion in those days also. So this Mahendra Lal Sarkar also used to say like that. Towards him also Sri Ramakrishna's love was unconditional one. And Sri Ramakrishna's love for humanity. One day he asked Narendra, Naren, people worship the Lord in a lifeless wooden statue or a stone. Why can't people worship the same Lord in a living entity? In a living human being? This question was a shocking question for Narendra. Afterwards he says, after 10 years or 12 years of tapasya, I could answer my master's question. Yes, it is possible to worship the Lord in a living being. The problem is, worshipping the Lord in a lifeless wooden statue is easy, because you can manage to give a rotten fruit also. The 2 banana and 1 coconut. And you can have an agreement also. This is an advance, so please fulfill my desire. For 2 banana and coconut, this fellow will tell Dhanam, Dhanyam, Pashum, Bahuputra, Labham, like that. A big list will be there. Not only for him, to his family members. How much you are offering to me? 2 banana, that to rotten banana. Bhagavan will not scold. But same thing if you go and offer to a person, living being. So even if he is a beggar, he will protest. Are you giving rotten banana to me? Take it. Like that, he will scold, he will criticize. So the worshipping the Lord in a living being is a difficult one. And you can go on, pray to God, Bhagavan will never answer as long as you are seeing him in the statue. But if you start seeing the Lord in a human being, Bhagavan will answer. Didn't I tell you? Many people go to temple and they say, oh Bhagavan, I am such a good person, you are giving trouble to me, like that. So Bhagavan did not answer. But if you tell to another person, I am such a good person, for me this type of troubles have come, that fellow will tell, oh, are you good person? Don't I know what type of good person you are? Like that he will contradict your idea. So naturally, wherever contradiction, wherever scolding, wherever criticism comes, there the idea of love and affection goes away. Therefore it is very difficult to worship the Lord in a living being. But Sri Ramakrishna brought out the age-old Vedantic revelation that idam sarvam yadayam atma, Ishvaraha idagam sarvam, idam brahma, idam kshatram, ime loka, ime deva, imani bhutani, idagam sarvam yadayam atma. Upanishad says, whatever is seen by our sense organs, whatever is known by our mind, is nothing but the manifestation of this same Lord who happened to be your own inner spiritual nature. So this is the revelation of Vedantic scriptures. It was forgotten by the society. Because of this, there was a cruel behavior that you are not a lovable one, don't touch me. Untouchability was practiced in this nation. In this nation alone, the scriptures say that every human being is divine. In the same nation, thousands of years, that human being was mistreated. So for all the social ills, Sri Ramakrishna's love is a teaching. He is to love everyone. Never saw the person's external attire, color of the skin, position in the society, or even the behavior of the person. One day morning he was coming out of his room, he saw a woman of questionable character, and he went and bowed down to her and says to her, oh mother, you have come in this form today. How many people can even imagine this type of behavior? Such a great spiritual giant accepting people as they are, that is called love. Generally we think that when we love someone, they used to obey us. Many parents have this complaint. I love so much my children, but they don't obey. This is the complaint. I love my children so much, but they don't obey. What is the connection between obedience and love? If you really love, you will never expect obedience from your children, for that matter from anyone. Because love is a giving one. I am a loving entity means I am ready to give whatever I have, irrespective of your behavior, your reciprocation. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Shivajnane Jiva Seva should be done. There was a satsanga wherein Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching was discussed. Swami Vivekananda, Narendra and other disciples were sitting, other household disciples were all sitting. There was a reading from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to stress 3 sadhanas. Name Ruchi, love for the Lord's name, then Sadhu Seva, Seva to the holy people. Third one is Jiver Daya, compassion towards the other living beings. So these 3 points are discussed. Sri Ramakrishna could accept first 2 points as a spiritual sadhana. Name Ruchi. Anybody who wants to lead a spiritual life, first thing they have to hold on is Bhagavan's divine name. Nama Sankirtana, Nama Japa is the first hold in any spiritual aspirant's life. So he is to say, chant as much as possible the Lord's name. That will slowly purify your heart and it will lead to Sadhu Sangha. Once you go to a Sadhu Sangha, you should serve the sadhus so that they can teach you. Tadvidhi pranipadene pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita, you can get the spiritual teachings by your humble submission. How to express your humble submission? By serving the sadhus. But serving the sadhus doesn't mean massaging their feet. Serving the sadhus means practicing what sadhus say in your life. Suppose sadhus say that please get up early in the morning and do some prayer like that. Obedience to that instruction, spiritual instruction is sadhu seva. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say, insist this. Sri Ramakrishna also accepted. Name ruchi sadhu seva. Third one is jiver daya, compassion towards other living beings. When Sri Ramakrishna heard this statement, he was not happy with this statement. So he went into ecstatic mood. Jiver daya, jiver daya, jiver daya. Compassion to human beings, compassion to other living beings. Who is that to have compassion? Can this insignificant human being have compassion towards other human being? How is it? How is it? Like that he talked with himself. Then at the end of the conversation with himself, he told, Jive dayanai shivajnane jiva seva. Bhagavan alone has manifested in the form of every living being with this attitude. One should serve the humanity. So this was taught to his disciple. Not only he taught this great ideal of Virat Puja, it is called Virat Puja. Nothing we encounter in our life deserves our disrespect. Everything deserves our respect and love. This is the grand teaching of Vedanta, because Bhagavan is not away from this creation. Other religions have the idea that Bhagavan is away from the creation. He is not immanent entity. He is a transcendental entity. He is sitting somewhere else in heaven and he has created this product called Jagat. But in Vedanta, Bhagavan not only the creator, but the created Jagat also he only. To understand that, we can recollect our dream world. Who creates the dream world? Our own mind. Who becomes objects in the dream world? In dream world, there are a lot of objects. Road is there, train is there, and passengers are there. And the person also who is dreaming, he also is there. Who becomes everything? The same person's mind. So, he is Jagat Nimitta Karanam and Upadhana Karanam. He is both creator and the created Jagat. This is a unique idea given in the Vedantic teachings. This was the central teaching of Sri Ramakrishna with regard to the transaction with the other people in the world. Generally, we have complaints about everything in our life. With regard to mosquito, we have complaint. With regard to society, we have complaint. With regard to our family members, we have complaint. Why this complaint? Because we refuse to be a serving personality. We desire to be a receiving personality. Expecting personality. Every expectation will be with disappointment. Therefore, we have problems. Once this idea that whoever he may be, whom I am encountering in my life, he is also Bhagavan. If I have that idea, then this cruelty, this hatredness, this disrespect will not be there in our behavior. Once I was talking like this to mothers in Satsanga. One mother told, Swami, when you say Bhagavan has become all this creation, I am able to understand little bit. Okay, he has become this creation. But whenever I see my husband, is this man also Bhagavan's creation? Like that, I doubt your teaching like that. He used to say. So we accept, yes, everything is Bhagavan's creation only. But with regard to certain people in our life, it is very difficult for the ordinary mind to grasp this idea. How can the scriptures say? Because scriptures never say lie. So how can scriptures say that everything is Bhagavan? It's a very difficult concept. But Sri Ramakrishna used to say, even though you don't understand this concept, have an attitude. Even though it may not be knowledge for you, but at least you can entertain this attitude, keeping faith in sadhu sangha and the scriptures. See, our eyes show that the statue which we are worshipping is made up of stone. When we touch it, we recognize that it is stone only, but none of us pray to that stone, "Hey stone, please protect me." Correct? So behind the stone image, we are able to see something very grand which is not available for our perception. Similarly, behind the behavior of the person, behind the color of the skin of the person, behind the status of the person, behind the educational qualification of the person, behind the poverty of the person, behind the arrogance of the person, there is a divine nature. If you can touch that divine nature, that person will be at your feet. He will be loving you. There was a Phailwan. That Phailwan was paid to go and beat Sri Ramakrishna. Phailwan came to Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna shook his hand, that's all. "Hello, very good, come, come." He shook hands with that Phailwan. That Phailwan was simply melted. "Sir, do you know for what purpose I have come?" "Whatever may be the purpose of your arrival, I am very happy to see you like that." He told few words to that Phailwan. That fellow fell at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna and became the devotee. That is the power of love which was exemplified in Sri Ramakrishna's life. When Sri Ramakrishna went to pilgrimage to Kashi, on the way, the entire party with Mathur Babu and others stayed at Devgarh. While staying at Devgarh, Sri Ramakrishna saw village people with utter poverty, emaciated body with utter poverty. When he saw, his heart melted. Then he requested Mathur Babu to feed all the villagers and give cloths and other things what are necessary for them, basic things. Mathur Babu told, "Baba, we are on the way to Kashi. We are going to have Vishwanatha Darshan. Lot of money is involved. I have booked a special train for the entire party. If I spend money for these beggars, we cannot reach there like that." Then Sri Ramakrishna told, "You are the trustee of a divine mother to take care of the poor children of her, but you refuse to do that. Therefore, I will not come to Kashi at all. I have Vishwanatha Darshana in these people," like that. He left Mathur Babu and went and sat with the villagers. Then Mathur Babu had to yield. "I have taken this madman, now things cannot move without his permission." So he sent someone and brought all the materials. This was the first relief work done by Sri Ramakrishna mission. That was our elders used to say, Sri Ramakrishna's mission is Sri Ramakrishna mission. Sri Ramakrishna mission means organization. What this organization meant for? In order to realize the mission of Sri Ramakrishna. What is the mission of Sri Ramakrishna? Shivajnane Jiva Seva. Loving every individual in this creation as the embodiment of Lord and helping that individual to realize that fact in his own life. Sister Nivedita asked Swami Vivekananda, "What is the mission of your life?" Same mission which Sri Ramakrishna had was told by Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda says, I can put in a few words. Our mission is to teach humanity that each soul is potentially divine, how to manifest that divinity in life. This was Sri Ramakrishna's mission, born out of his love for humanity and his love for fallen people, those people who were considered as fallen one, fallen from character, fallen from purity. With regard to them also, his love is something very, very grand. We can read in his life how he transformed people like Girish Chandra Ghosh, people like Kalipada Ghosh, people like Vinodini, an actress was there, Vinodini. So these people were witness Whenever Girish Chandra Ghosh come to Sri Ram Krishna, on the way he is to drink. Before meeting Guru, he is to drink, and half bottle will be kept in that bullock car. Girish comes to Sri Ram Krishna, he understood the condition of the disciple, then he sent another disciple to bring that half bottle also. So where he will find this type of Guru, you tell? So his disciple used to be ashamed of, no, not in front of you, like that. That means what? Not in front of you means what? In absence of you. Then Sri Ramakrishna asked, where I am absent? Then he gave a beautiful idea, technique. I don't say you don't drink, but I say, whenever you drink, remember me. That's all. Over. So Girish accepted that. Oh, nice, very good teacher. Because he is not stopping me drinking. If he said to a drunkard, don't drink, he will not obey. Therefore, a superb psychiatrist he was. So he told, whenever you drink, you remember me. So this fellow agreed, Girish agreed. Then as even he was taking that bottle, immediately Sri Ramakrishna stands in front of him with sad face. I accepted you as my disciple. This is the respect you give to me, like that. Some idea, Girish Ghosh was a dramatist. So he used to have imaginary dialogues with Sri Ramakrishna, and finally his life was converted in such a way to say everyone goes to hand over their own sins to Ganga Ma. Ganga Ma will be with lot of sins. Who will purify her? She will be in trouble by receiving all the sins of these people. So I thought, let me go and help her. Let me go and purify her. Like that I went and took bath and purified Ganga Mata. To say this with all conviction, how much knowledge a person should have. This was the transformation. That's why to Ramakrishna Mission, to our satsanga, a lot of people don't come because there is a guilt, and we always insist that there must be a transformation in your life. If you are a drunkard, you should stop drinking. Unwanted behavior, you should stop. Like this we are always insisting, na? Therefore only people don't come. If you accept the people's weakness and say one more technique I will give, and you charge for the technique, this Kriya Yoga, that yoga, this yoga, they are ready to pay. Because you don't touch their personal life. As long as you don't touch their personal life, you will be a Mahaguru in present day society. But Sri Ramakrishna's idea is, he wants to touch it, but he knows how to touch it. So, in all aspects, Sri Ramakrishna, as a sadhakaha, a lover of Lord, as a family man, as a teacher towards his disciple, as a saintly person towards the devotees, as a member of the society, a responsible person of the society, he had love for the entire society, and even for poor and fallen, his love was unconditional love. Therefore only Swami Vivekananda glorifies Sri Ramakrishna, Prema Patha, you are ocean of love. No one was deprived of love from you once he approached you. This is the fact even with regard to our life. We have to touch our heart and ask how our life was before coming to Sri Ramakrishna. Before coming to know Sri Ramakrishna, before surrendering to Sri Ramakrishna, how the mind was, now how mind is. How much we are enjoying the peace of mind. These are all the facts. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda says, this unconditional love was possible because of samadrishtihi. Seeing something very glorious in spite of all the external differences. All differences, all impurities, all problems at the outer court, but there is one glorious thing in every living being. One glorious thing in every human being is something very, very grand, identifying with that grand entity which is called divine consciousness. A person has this samadarshanam. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Shwapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Bhagavan says in Gita. The Samadarshanam which is born out of knowledge. Same idea Swamiji conveyed in the second shloka also, because of Samadarshanam in the mind of Sri Ram Krishna, he could see the grand thing which is our own spiritual nature or divine nature. Keeping that as the base, as a scale for relating with everyone, Sri Ram Krishna's love was unconditional one. More ideas we will see in the next class. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrida vigraham vai Ishāvataram parameshamīdyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namāmi.